You're not losing because you're wrong. You're losing because they know too much about you. They know your goals, the mountains you're trying to climb. They know your next move, the exact path you're about to take to get there. They know your intentions, the reasons behind every action you've made. They even know your heart. What excites you, what angers you, what scares you. You've laid your mind out like a map. And they've studied it. They've memorized every road, every shortcut, every blind spot. Now, everyone walks across it freely, leaving muddy footprints on the very plans you built in private, touching and twisting every idea you ever had, until what you created no longer belongs to you. Machiavelli understood something you forgot. The moment they know exactly what you want is the moment they can stop you. Because your greatest power isn't in what you do. It's in what you make them believe you might do, while keeping your true aim hidden, buried so deep they could spend years searching for it, and still never find it. If you can be read, you can be redirected. If you can be predicted, you can be prevented. And if you can be explained, you can be controlled.
Hey guys, we're Wisdom, based in Abu Dhabi. We use AI tools to make these concepts come to life, but it's our amazing team who goes deep, breaking down powerful philosophical ideas and showing how they really apply in everyday life. We hope you enjoyed today's content.
The cost of being real. You think you're being honest. You think being real is noble. You think explaining your intentions will earn you respect, that by laying everything on the table, you're proving your integrity. But here's the truth you've been avoiding. You're not just sharing, you're handing out ammunition. Every time you open the vault and let someone see your plans, you give them the blueprint to dismantle them. They mirror your goals, so you believe they're on your side. They nod when you speak, so you think you've found an ally. And all the while, they're positioning themselves ahead of you. They undermine your path before you can even walk it. They plant doubt with a single whispered opinion, not loud enough to be challenged, but just enough to make others hesitate before trusting you. They preempt your moves, step into your opportunities, and take the credit for the very ideas you thought you were protecting by sharing. You didn't lose because you failed. You didn't lose because you weren't good enough. You lost because someone else got to your finish line first, running the route you showed them, while you were still busy explaining why you were running it. Visibility is vulnerability. Machiavelli would say, if your enemies know your next step, you've already handed them the knife. Understand what that means. The moment your path is visible, it's no longer yours. It belongs to anyone with the will to block it. The kindest smiles often hide the sharpest knives, and the hands that applaud you the loudest are sometimes the same hands sharpening the blade behind your back. The more predictable you are, the easier it is to plan your destruction. Patterns make you comfortable, but they make your enemies comfortable too. Comfortable enough to time their strike perfectly. Look back at history's most powerful rulers, the most feared tacticians, the leaders who survived the longest. None of them revealed everything. They understood that the truth, the full truth, was a luxury they could never afford. They spoke in half-truths, wrapping every answer in a question. They shared just enough to be trusted, but never enough to be stopped. They let the world think it understood them, right up until the moment they made the move no one saw coming. Because in the game of power, being seen is not the same as being known, and being known is the first step to being destroyed. Stop giving away leverage. You tell people your next move because you want reassurance, because you crave validation, because you hope for approval. But every time you reveal your intent, you hand over leverage. Like sliding your opponent the exact playbook you're about to run. You think you're building trust, you're actually building their advantage. The Machiavellian doesn't announce. He doesn't broadcast his strategy like a town crier desperate to be believed. He observes. He watches the board, not to be seen, but to see everything. He sets traps in places no one even notices until it's too late. He lets others talk themselves into revealing their intentions, their weaknesses, their blind spots. No declarations, no validation seeking, only outcomes. He doesn't need you to believe he's going to win. He makes you watch him win. Let them see the result, not the process. Let them ask, how did he do that? Instead of, is he really going to do it? Because when you've already done it, questions are irrelevant. And when they never saw it coming, their only choice is to react on your terms. The art of misdirection. Misdirection isn't deception. It's control over perception. It's not about lying. It's about letting people believe exactly what you want them to believe, even if it's miles away from the truth. You say yes, and quietly do no. You say soon, and move in silence today. You say nothing, and let the tension build until it feels like thunder waiting to break. The beauty of misdirection is simple. If they believe the wrong thing, they move wrong. And if they move wrong, you don't even need to push them off the board. They walk themselves into the trap you built weeks ago. It's the hunter's patience, baiting the prey into a path they think they chose, only to find the ground giving way beneath them. The Machiavellian understands. Words are tools, but silence is the forge where perception is shaped. A single nod can send someone down a road you never intend to walk. A delayed answer can make them rethink everything they thought they knew. Because when people think they're seeing the truth, they stop looking for the lie. And that's when you win, without lifting your voice, without raising your hand, without even appearing to play. Controlled ambiguity. Controlled ambiguity is a weapon, and in the hands of someone patient enough to wield it, it's devastating. It freezes enemies in their tracks, because you can't prepare for what you don't understand. It attracts loyalty, because people are drawn to mystery, to the presence they can't quite define, to the leader they can't fully read. And it establishes authority, because authority isn't built on noise, it's built on gravity. The kind of gravity that pulls people toward you, even when you say nothing at all. People respect what they can't define. They fear what they can't predict. The moment they believe they've figured you out, you change the pattern. The moment they think they know your next move, you take a different path. You don't need to shout to be heard. You don't need to convince to be followed. You just need to make sure everyone in the room is certain of only one thing, that you are never certain to them. Because when no one can pin you down, they can't trap you, they can't corner you, and they can't strike at a target that keeps changing shape right before their eyes. And that's when your presence becomes more than power. It becomes a question they'll never stop asking. The frame game. Every conversation is a battle for frame. It's not about words, it's about control. The frame decides who's leading and who's reacting. It decides whose reality becomes the truth in that moment. If they frame it as, you owe me an answer, they control the tempo. You're already on the defensive. If they force you to explain yourself, they've already taken the lead. Because the one explaining is the one justifying, and the one justifying is already beneath the other. The Machiavellian never answers defensively. He refuses to play on their terms. Instead, he shifts the focus. He redirects the energy. He turns the question into a mirror, so the asker ends up exposing themselves. He asks the counter question, why do you need to know? What makes you think that? Is that what you're worried about? And just like that, the pressure is no longer on him. It's on them. When you control the frame, you control the emotional temperature of the exchange. You decide what matters and what doesn't. You decide which truths are spoken and which ones never see daylight. Own the frame and you own the result. Every time. Silence as a weapon. Silence isn't weakness. It's pressure. It's tension. It's the question no one in the room can answer, but everyone feels. Most people speak to fill space. They talk because silence makes them nervous. They talk because they fear what you might be thinking. The man who talks is competing. He's trying to win the room with volume. The man who listens is calculating. He's mapping the battlefield in real time. But the man who waits, the one who lets silence stretch until it becomes uncomfortable, that man is winning. Because every word you withhold builds tension, like tightening a wire between you and them, waiting to see who flinches first. Every pause forces them to reveal themselves, to over-explain, to justify, to give you more information than you ever asked for. And in that moment, they're no longer defending their position. They're handing you the keys to it. Silence isn't the absence of communication. It's communication with gravity. It tells them, I am in no rush. I am in no need. I will speak only when it serves me. And the longer you hold it, the more they realize you're not reacting to their game. You're controlling it without saying a single word. The legacy of absence. Being misunderstood is not a curse. It's a gift. When they misread you, they relax. When they underestimate you, they loosen their guard. And when they loosen their guard, you build in peace. Machiavelli knew. When you disappear, you don't shrink. You expand. Absence creates space, and in that space, people's minds start working overtime. They remember the mystery. They replay the moments you didn't explain. They think about the moves you almost made, the ones that never quite happened, but linger in their memory like unfinished stories. And they remember the man who vanished just before they figured him out, leaving them to wonder whether they truly ever understood him at all. Absence doesn't make you forgotten, it makes you legendary. Because in your absence, you stop being a person and start becoming a question. From this moment forward, every word you speak must serve one of two purposes: to escalate your presence, to make the air in the room feel heavier when you walk in, or to reinforce your mystery, to make them leave the conversation knowing less about you than when it began. If your words don't do one of those two things, you hold your tongue, because a moment of silence now is worth more than 1,000 explanations later. Let them talk. Let them fill the air with guesses, theories, and desperate attempts to read you. Let them argue with themselves about who you are, what you're thinking, and what you might do next. Because your silence is no longer a pause. It's a presence, a force in the room that bends the conversation without a single word leaving your mouth. When you're quiet, they should worry. Not because you have nothing to say, but because you've chosen not to say it. When you're still, something is coming. Not rushed, not panicked, but inevitable. And when you speak, it's already too late. The move has been made. The board has shifted. The outcome is already yours. That it is power without noise. The kind of power that doesn't beg to be noticed. It demands to be felt. That is Machiavellian silence. Cold, calculating, unshakable, and impossible to stop.
Thanks for spending time with us. If this sparked a new way of thinking, hit like and subscribe to keep the ideas flowing. And don't forget, check the description for the links to the resources and the original books we used today. We'll see you in the next one.